Minutes. I have to find the Nami, who was one of our higher students and OKE students, and he has been in the US for 2 years and then Singapore, and he's here to share with us his experience with a Q&A. So you're welcome to ask any questions you like.
All right, guys. Is the microphone working? Yeah. There. So my name is Naoufel. I don't know if a lot of people know me or not because it's been a while since I was here. So basically, I was a student in Hayap Academy and OKE Center. I've been in Teachers Khalid class for almost 7 years, and I really enjoyed every moment. It was such a precious experience, I would say. I always say that to everybody, even I went to the US or Singapore or wherever I am. And I mean, I'm here to share some experience and some thoughts that I got and gathered through this little journey. So you're very welcome for any questions. We'll be very happy to answer them. And don't be shy. Yeah. Yep.
So, we all appreciate the things that, one of our, leaders.
Appreciate that.
We always follow as young people.
Mm-hmm.
Did go to the US
Mm-hmm.
and did, find a way to go to it. Because, it's a dream for us.
Yeah.
So, can you talk more, how did you go with your career here, your studies in Morocco, and how did you manage to go there?
Yeah, that's a very common question that I get, usually from my friends and family about how did I go to the US. And what I always say, I'll speak about. So we got to start very early. In my case, I started thinking about studying in English for my higher studies when I was around the 9th grade, or my first year in high school, which is the Common Core. So I almost decided that I want to pursue my higher studies in English. So I had to, search about, what are the countries where I can pursue my higher studies. It was Canada, the UK, the US, Australia. There are a lot of places where you can study in English, but after my Common Core, I started, searching about universities and see what it's like to study and be a student in the UK or the US or Canada. And I found that the US was more the place that fits my expectations. So basically, in order to go to the US, you gotta apply for universities right there. And what I always say, the deadline for US universities is January of your second baccalaureate. So basically, you apply before taking your national exam. So the beginning of January is the deadline to study the next year. So you got to be prepared before you apply for those universities. So if you got any TOEFL or TET that you gotta take it in the summer after you finish your regional exam, which is your first baccalaureate. So basically, for the standardized test that you should take, it's basically the TOEFL and the SAT. Very quick difference. So the TOEFL tests your language abilities. So are you able to study in English? You understand professors in English, and you can write. SAT is different than the TOEFL. SAT is more of your intelligence. So we want to see if you're smart through English language. So basically, they give you, it's more comprehensive reading. So a lot of text, and you answer questions. And we try to trick you and see how do you think, or are you able to figure out problems very quickly? Because the SAT is a simple test if you see it from an overall perspective. But the only problem that makes SAT very hard is the timing. It's very quick. You got 1 minute per question. So you gotta be very quick, and you gotta figure out everything. So you cannot go to the SAT not prepared. You will definitely not gain any score. You gotta be prepared. The more you get prepared, the better is the score. So for the TOEFL, I think it's well known. It's the 120 points. And I mean, yeah, you gotta take the test and see how do you do. Basically, most of the minimum is 79 if you want to get to a university, at least 79. That at least proves that you're, a little bit good in English. You're able. But the better university, the better the more the score you need. Like MIT is almost 95 to 100, which is not that hard for high up academy students. That's what I'm trying to say. If there are other universities where it's 80, 85, it depends on each university. So the better score you have, the better chances you have in a university. That's for the TOEFL. For the SAT, it's 1,600 points, 1,600 points. So there are 800 points for maths and 800 points for English. And it's 1 minute per question. It's about 3.5 hour test. You gotta take. It's usually in Rabat, Casablanca, or Agadir, if I remember. And you take the test, and it's the same thing. The better you score, the better you have chances to get to better universities. Very quick example, like Harvard and MIT, they usually require between 1,550 points out of 1,600 points. So you gotta do good in the test. And if when you're going lower, of course the scores are getting lower. And just a quick example, like Mark Zuckerberg, who created Facebook, and Bill Gates, both of them got a perfect score in the SAT when they got to Harvard. So it was 1,600 points, perfect score, no mistakes. Just to know. So SAT is a very long story to talk about, but it needs a lot of preparation. And I think you can take SAT after you finish your Common Core. You should be able to take maths in SAT after your Common Core. So those are like the tests you need to have. This is just taking the test. You're not preparing the file. So the file is your transcripts from high school, your tests, your activities, motivation letters, recommendation letters, personal statements, and a lot of essays. Basically, we may ask you, like, why do you want this university? Why are you the best candidate? Why are you the perfect fit for our community? And you gotta answer those questions in few words in order to convince the committee. So this is a very huge file that you gotta prepare in order to apply for these universities and get accepted. It's not only your marks, it's not only your TOEFL or SAT, but it's a very huge and full of a lot of things. Recommendation letters, activities too are very important. We want to know what you're doing in your life before we can accept you. And there is this thing we call the personal statement, which is a very important thing and very sensitive in your application. Very simple explanation. They give you 650 words to speak about whatever you want about your life, any event, anything, in order to convince us to accept you. You're very free to write about anything in your life, an event that happened to you or anything, in order to convince us. So think about what you're gonna write about. And it's 650 words, you cannot exceed that. And that's what we call a personal statement. And in order to write this personal statement in a correct way, where very good English, it takes time. And there are a lot of drafts. You gotta write the first draft, you gotta correct again, change. Maybe you find this idea not really that good, change it again. That takes, for me, it took like 4 months because I'm studying in high school and I'm still, writing my essays. So it takes a little bit of time to do that. So that's why I say you should plan before applying to the U.S. universities. And time is very important. You cannot exceed deadlines. So you gotta plan what you're doing. I hope I answered your question, but that's like a little bit the overall experience in order to apply to the U.S. universities. But I think a lot of people are asking about scholarships and stuff like that because it's very expensive to go to the U.S. Let me answer that question in two parts. The first part is before you go to the U.S. Before you go to the U.S., you still have to invest money to take those tests, to go to Casablanca to take the SAT, the TOEFL. You need to apply for application fees. You gotta buy books to prepare for the SAT, for the TOEFL. That's an investment. So be prepared for that. You gotta pay a little bit of money. You cannot just go for free. You gotta invest a little bit to take those tests. Go to Casablanca, go back. Buy books, apply. Application fees. That's before going to the U.S. You gotta spend some money. After you go to the U.S., all the universities are you should pay. There are tuition and fees for all the universities. Either it's public or private. So how scholarships work? There are many types of scholarships you can apply for. There is the ones that are based on your financial ability. There are ones that are based on your academics. There are ones that you compete for. So basically, for your financial ability and academics, it's automatic. So once you apply, if you're eligible for a scholarship, they will notify you and send you an email saying that Mr. Flan, you received this scholarship due to your maybe low financial ability or due to your good academic records, for example. The other ones is a competition. You gotta compete with other people for that scholarships, and it's like applying for a job. So interviews, essays, and when you come to interviews, you're just a high schooler, and because you're from high school, you didn't work, you don't have a degree, so the only thing that they care about is activities because you cannot compete with anything. So activities, that's what's happening in High Up Academy. That helped me a lot. Basically, you speak about what you're doing. I spoke about cooking, the event. And I got selected for a scholarship about it in another university that I didn't attend anyway. But I spoke about the cooking experience that we gathered food, we sell the food, and we got that money, and we tried to help some marginalized high schools. And yeah, they selected me, but I'm saying you need to have some activities for that. And this is for the scholarships. So you can have 4 scholarships and combine them together so you can attend a U.S. university. But there is one quick thing because it was a little bit long speech. For the best universities, which we call the Ivy League, Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Brown University, those big universities are called need-blind universities, which means you only need to get admitted to the university. Money-wise, they will pay for everything that you cannot pay. The only problem with those Ivy League is just to get in. Because as long as you get in, you shouldn't care about money. They will know that your financial ability is not that high. They will pay for everything. But you need to get admitted. And when I say get admitted to those Ivy League, MIT, the acceptance percentage is 5% of the people who applied. The people who already applied, the best ones, only 5% get accepted. But I'm saying, if you really got good scores and you find yourself able to apply for those, you shouldn't really care about money. I mean, and it's not only about bachelor's, but you can consider that for a master, a PhD. It's not always after high school. I'm just saying. Yeah. I hope I answered your question, though. Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of the TOEFL, I feel that you know this very well. But in terms of SAT, so how can they prepare for the math? Knowing that the math is going to be in English, the test?
It's in English, but it's simple. You don't need to study any further lessons. But I think the best approach and advice I would give is practice. This is a very good thing about the SAT. Khan Academy, they partnered with SAT, or the organization that made this standardized test, It's free. Get in, practice problems. Don't be crazy enough to go just start practicing. Before, you need to study a little bit, have a revision, see what's happening in the test, revise your math courses before you just get in practice problems. And I think the best approach for that is practice. And all the practice tests are available for free. You wouldn't pay for anything. There are, I think, 20 practice tests, real tests, official tests from the organization that is called College Board. So College Board is the organization that made the SAT. So just get the practice test and start practicing. Because I say, SAT is a simple test, but it's very tricky. A lot of tricks, and it's very fast, 1 minute per question. You might know the question, but because it's 1 minute, you're fast, you get the wrong answer. And it's 10 points per question. So if you miss one question, you miss 10 points. So it's practice, practice, practice. TOEFL, they know about it. For SAT, practice. You don't have any writing, you don't have any speaking, which is good. So you only have reading comprehension. So you gotta have some tips. You cannot just read the test like that. And you want to read a little bit only the first sentences and try to gather an information about the test or the text, sorry, before answering the question. And one of the examples of the questions in the SAT, just to know a little bit. So in reading comprehension, I had one question where they said, in the paragraph 2 or 3 or whatever, what was the author emotions? And they give you 4 or 5 choices. So it's more of, do you understand what he is trying to say? There's no specific, maybe Ali went to Berkan, where did Ali go? So that's a simple question, but it's like, what's the author emotions? And you want to answer that question through reading a little bit through the paragraph and find what's the vocabulary going in there. Is he sad? Is he happy? What is he talking about? And from that you can understand what's happening, answer the questions. Good news for you, all the SATs is multiple question. You don't have to write anything. You just choose the right question, and it's 5 questions. So, yep. For the math, I think we Moroccans are good in math. You should be fine, but you should practice. You should definitely practice a lot. It's very tricky. And what I would say, yeah, practice a lot. I think that's the best thing.
Okay,
but I said Khan Academy. All the resources are in Khan Academy. You don't have to search anywhere else. Just type Khan Academy SAT practice. You couldn't finish all the problems. That's what I'm saying. There is a lot of material to go through. And practice, practice, practice. I think that's the best. That's the best approach for SAT specifically. And just to know, SAT is an international test. So people in the US take the same test as you take, the same test as you have. So you're competing with everybody. In India or China or the US or Morocco, it's the same test. So it's good to apply for US universities, but also it's very important to know your level internationally. To know, are you good? Yeah, I get 20s in maths in high school, but how do I compare to other people internationally? Which is pretty good to know. So after you finish your test, they will give you statistics about what's your level compared to people in the US. So it's pretty good to know that. Questions? Yep.
So for this journey, what are the characteristics that you need to pull off what you just did?
That's a good question. Thank you. For characteristics or skills, I would say that you need, or that I needed through this journey, the first thing I would say is leadership skills. And when I'm saying leadership, I'm speaking about public speaking, I'm speaking about communication, I'm speaking about teamwork. Because, let me explain for you something, guys. When you go to higher studies, you don't have time to develop those skills. There's a lot of material to go through. There is a lot of things to go through, homeworks and stuff like that. It's better to have those skills before you graduate high school. So you just use them there. I'm speaking about public speaking, communication, teamwork, organizational involvement. Those are really good skills to have before going there. Because if you don't have those skills, you will struggle a lot, trust me. And I have many examples, many friends who struggled with that a lot. The second thing, and I was well known of it when I was in high up, is IT. You need some basics. You still have to know a little bit the basics of what's happening in an internet, how to use Word, how to use PowerPoint, how to submit a homework, how to convert a Word to a PDF, save, video editing a little bit. Because when you get there, everything is IT related. And all our homework we submit it online. So you gotta let me have some basics. You cannot just you cannot just go there without any IT knowledge. So that's a very another important thing. And another thing that I really want to suggest is when you go into the US, it's very important to take care of your mentality or vision. You should be very open, because if you want to learn, you gotta listen and learn from what's happening. And just don't be the guy who's very fast, always doing crazy things. Try to be more mature, listen and learn. After you learn and you be more, able, and you have a very good knowledge, then you can speak, you can give speeches, you can suggest ideas. So it's very important also, because you may get the opportunity to go to the US, and many people had that opportunity but didn't do anything with it, because when they went there, they didn't want to learn. It's just because I am in the US and I like that. So I think it's very careful. And crazy thing, this is a very good experience that I had when I went to Singapore. People in Singapore are really good technically, but they're not good in communication or public speaking or leadership skills in general. And I found a very huge difference when I'm speaking about skills when I got there. I was able to speak very easily. I was able to communicate with professors, not being shy. And I had an advantage compared to other people. I even took a business class called Organizational Behavior, and I'm an engineering student, which is very far away from what I'm studying. But I still took that business class, and the professor was like, "You're doing good." Why? Because I had those leadership skills before, so I was able to adapt very quickly. Those skills, so summary, those skills make you adaptable when you go there. So that's like what you should get. Leadership skills help you to adapt and engage in the community very quickly. If you don't have those skills, you will adapt, but it will take you like a year or 2 years to adapt with the other people. I hope I answered your question though. Questions? Hello? Yeah.
So, first I want to thank you for
Yeah, my pleasure.
great pleasure. And I just want to ask you, like, do you necessarily need to have high grades in high school in order to get into a good university?
That's a very good question, actually. So you're speaking about high school grades, right? Good news, no. That's the thing. So when I'm saying good news, no, I don't mean very low grades, but still, I'm saying about 15, 16. At least you're there, you got some things. And from my experience, not my experience, but like usually, I got my admission offers in December of my baccalaureate. So when I went to take my national exam, I already knew the university I'm attending. I already made all my papers. I even secured my housing before even taking my national exam. So people don't really care about grades because everyone is studying math and whatever. But we need. So let me give you a good example. When I spoke to an advisor in my university about admissions and grades, it was like, we don't need someone who has 20s in his transcripts. We need someone with 15, 16, and he's doing a lot of extracurricular activities. That's better for us. And another thing that I want to tell you, supposedly you had good grades, you got accepted, you went to the US, you're studying. People don't care about your grades even there. It's not only in Morocco. Also there, they don't care about grades. And I applied to internships and stuff like stuff like that. Spoke to many recruiters. Not really. Grades are whatever. It's more about the knowledge, and it's more about, are you able to adapt quickly? Are you an active person? What are you doing in your life? Because let me tell you something. In the US specifically, if you're a nerd, you don't do anything, and you just study, you will get good grades for damn sure. I'll give you 200%, you will get good grades if you're just focusing on your study. Because you can do that, everyone can do that. So if I am a company, or if you're a recruiter, how would you choose this candidate for your company? That's the real problem. So I say, people don't care much about grades. I'm not saying care, which means you don't care about your high school. Care about your high school, study hard, but you gotta balance. And this was important. You need to balance between your high school and other things. High up or sports or whatever you're doing. I'm not speaking only about high up, but those sports, arts, guitar, whatever, art, maybe drawing, there are a lot of things to do. And that balance expands your knowledge, help you develop your leadership skills very quickly, and also gives you the advantage when you're applying to the US universities. So I think that's my answer. It's not really, they don't really care about grades. They care more about, do you balance? So you don't need to get 20s as long as you're doing other things. So I think that's a little bit the summary. Yep.
So I just want to know, when exactly did you start preparing for the SAT? And how much time did it take?
All right, so for the SAT. For my case, I started in my first baccalaureate. That's my case. But when I went to take my SAT, I found people who are preparing for the SATs since their Common Core. Which is a little bit crazy, but what they're doing is, they're going, I found people from the Common Core taking SATs with me, and when I spoke with them, like, why are you doing this? They were like, we're just practicing here. I just want to see the environment, how it is happening, how is the test, monitored, and just practice. So when he reaches his baccalaureate and take the SAT, he goes for a good score. For the SAT is simple as running. The more you train, the better you run. The more you practice, the better your scores. So there is no limit. If you can start preparing for SAT right now, that's good. But if you're young, what I would advise you now, because there is reading comprehension, you don't want to go practice the test because you're still young. You still got 4 years to graduate high school. I think reading books would be better because you will develop your reading comprehension, which is good for your SAT again. So your goal is the SAT. You find the skills that are going on the SAT, which is reading comprehension, analysis, and try to work on those skills way before. Reading books, reading articles, news, just understanding what are people, what are they saying, and just, develop your reading comprehension. That would help you a lot in the SAT thing. But to say there is no limit for preparing. If you can prepare right now, that's good for you, man. And I'm saying, a lot of people misunderstood this thing. You don't have to take SAT only because you're going to the US. You can take SAT just for your own purposes, just to know your level. Yeah, I study math, but I want to know how good am I internationally. You don't have to take SAT only for the US, but still for yourself. And just know your level and practice and see what's going on. Yep. Yeah.
So, first, thank you for
my pleasure.
It is a great pleasure. And I want to ask you about your life there.
Mm-hmm.
You came to the university. Like, how you felt at the beginning, how you started to socialize with others, and also about your daily life with housing.
Okay, sure. So, speaking about life in the US, Teacher Khalid already went to the US many times, and he knows that. People are very welcoming there. So you won't really find any problem with connecting to other people, as long as you do a lot of effort, of course. You don't stick in your room, of course you will not. You won't meet anybody. But they're pretty welcoming. I didn't find any racism concerning my religion or my origins, not really. How you connect, that's what's good about US universities. Many clubs, many organizations. We have an anime club in our university if you like anime. I don't know, there is a club, I forgot his name, they make brownies every week. I'm like, yeah, if you like making brownies or cooking, you can go join the club, meet other people. So because we have many clubs in the US, if you join only 2 clubs, you will make a lot of connections, a lot of networking. But the thing is, when you come as a freshman to the US universities, we have orientation activities. And those orientation activities are only for connecting freshmen to other people. So the type of orientation activities may be dancing together, maybe drawing together, guessing your origins, maybe where is he from, and make that, maybe guessing names. Those activities helps you connect with other people. And I think as long as you're open, you should be fine. You should be totally fine in the US. For the second part, you said about my daily life. So that depends on each person. Do you want a productive life or day, or you want a lazy day? That's up to you. Even though you're in the US, no one will push you to go train. So it's up to you. For me, I have my classes, do sports, organizations, have lunch with my friends, always my computer's with me, I always check what's happening, and that depends on the schedule if it's pretty busy or not. But one of the things that I really liked about the US, which is very important, for classes, it's only 15 minutes. So in a class, it's only 15 minutes because the students will lose concentration after that. So because your classes are only 15 minutes, basically you can study 3 classes in only one morning because it's 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And when you finish your classes in the morning, you got the free afternoon. So you can do your homeworks, go, work out, and organizations. So here where it comes organizations, the thing that I'm speaking about here, you have a lot of free time when you're studying in the US. But that depends on how do you want to use it. Some people have free time, they go to coffees, they hang out every time. Some people go, speak on the phone. Some people go work out. You can go join clubs, organizations, and work on something good that you can show in your resume or CV. So I think that's the general life. I always say I think it depends on what you like and what you want to do. Just because in the US doesn't mean you're productive. That's what I'm saying. It depends on you and what do you want to do with your life and with your day. And yeah, I think. Yep.
So from what I kind of guess is that you need to have big goals and ambitions to get into university in the US for sure. How can we start thinking about those goals and ambitions?
That's a very good question, actually. It's very interesting. But speaking about goals and ambition, and I think also another word that's very important is vision. Because vision, I think, is more important than what you said. Why? When I'm speaking with people about US studies, I think the first question that you should ask yourself is why I'm doing this. Why I want to go to the US? Why didn't I choose UK? Or why didn't I choose North Africa? So you gotta ask yourself so you can have at least a vision in your mind of what you're doing. Some people maybe are going to the US for a culture exchange. Some people going for quality education. Some people going for jobs opportunities. Some people are going for all of this. So you gotta define why you're going there or why do you want to go there before planning everything. So you gotta ask yourself why. Just not because someone went to the US, I should go. That depends on really why do you want to go. So that's a very important question to ask yourself. It's not only for the US, it's applicable for everything. Why do I do this? Why do I want to go to medical school? Why do I want to go to High-Up Academy, for example? You should ask yourself this. Just not because your father obliged you to come to High-Up Academy, you're coming. So you should ask yourself, why am I going to High-Up Academy? Why am I coming to Teacher Khalid class? So ask yourself those questions are very important. And I always speak with my father about this. And I don't know if I tell you this 100,000 times that high up is gold. You won't understand that if you didn't go to the US. That's what I'm trying to say. Me, by myself, when I was young, when I joined Teacher Khalid class, I didn't like that. Why? Basically, when I finished my primary or middle school at 5:30 p.m. and I find my friends going playing soccer, and my dad were like, "Yeah, you're gonna go study English." I'm like, "No, for damn sure." But I'm young. I don't understand that. That's what I'm trying to say. After that, I started figuring out really why is this happening and why am I going to High Up Academy. So I reached a point where I don't need my father to tell me go to High Up Academy to study English. I would go by myself and try always to figure out time to go to High Up Academy. But I'm saying I reached a point where I understood why I'm going to High Up Academy because I had a lot of goals. I found a good environment. So you should ask yourself that question and be clear with yourself before doing anything. It's not only about High Up, but also about other things. Sports, maybe changing schools. Why am I doing this? Just maybe we spoke about with teacher many times about this. Maybe extra classes. Why am I doing extra classes? Just because people are doing extra classes, or because I need extra classes? Because I find people no offense to everybody, but some people doing extra classes, for example, in religion or Islamic, and just think with yourself, why are you doing that? If you feel a need, good for you, man. Go ahead. If you don't feel a need, but you still want to get better grades, good for you, man. But you're just going because other people are going for extra classes. That's wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. And I can understand a little bit baccalaureate people. But when you find people going to extra classes at the 6th grade, that's crazy. That's very crazy. I'm not speaking about languages. Languages is another thing. I'm speaking about classes that you're taking, maths, physics, and stuff like that. You're in the 6th grade, doing extra classes. Where are you going? This is very wrong. And I can understand what's happening. The parents are obliged to do that because other people are doing that. But you should define why you're going there. Why am I doing maths, for example? If I don't have a need in maths. I'm really good. I get good grades. Why? So you gotta think a little bit about that. And that was the case with me for physics when I was in my final year in high school. I didn't feel a need in physics. I found all the material. No physics extra classes. That's it. And I took my national exam. It was a good grade, and that's it. I just didn't feel a need, and that's it. And that's good for me. So just think about why you're doing that. That's a very good question. Speaking about goals, and for the other part, I would say, I think vision is very important. I already said that many times. You cannot win a chess game without knowing the rules. So you don't know your vision, where you're going. You cannot work anything out. I want to go to Turkey, but I'm preparing my SAT. What's the relationship? No. I want to do medical school, but I'm studying physics. What are you doing? That's the thing that I'm trying to say. So you need to have a vision. What I want to do, the goal, and how can I get to the goal? That's a very important thing. So you need to know the way to your goal. Because if you don't have a vision, you're just doing anything. Someone want to go to study in China, and he's taking not China, but like going to study in India, and you're taking the TOEFL. Why? I want to take the TOEFL to go to India. People in India don't speak in English, don't study in English, supposedly. But they do, but I'm saying. So, yeah, you need to have a vision. And why am I doing this? You can take the TOEFL even though you're going to India, but you're saying, oh, I want to take the TOEFL because I studied English for 6 years. I want to know my level. That's good. You have a clear answer, explanation of why you're doing that. Doing that randomly, that's very wrong. For me, I think so. So that's very important. Have a vision and ask yourself always, why am I doing this? When I decided to go to Singapore, I knew why am I going to Singapore. And I knew how worth is that opportunity for me. Just not because someone went to Singapore. And let me tell you another thing. I was the second guy from my university, since it was founded, to go to Singapore. And my university was founded in the 18th, in 1800 something. And I am the second guy. No one went to Singapore, but I chose to go. Many people went to Spain, Italy, I don't know, Turkey maybe, but I'm saying I was the second guy to go to Singapore. But because it's my choice, because I found I want to go to Singapore for specific reasons. So yeah, I think that's how I'm gonna answer your questions.
Basically, emphasize on the whys in your life and have a clear vision of what you
A
want.
very clear vision. That's very important because have one goal and a good vision better than have 15 goals without vision. So I think yeah. Yep. Yeah, just one of you.
So I have a few questions.
Yeah, sure.
So how can you figure out like what major will you choose and what are you interested in?
Okay. That's a very important question, actually. And it's not easy that's, to tell you in the beginning, but one of the very important things that I started doing in this recent years when I went to the US, and it was very effective, is reflections. You live your life, when it's 4 months, stop a little bit, see what you're doing. Why am I doing this? So have reflections, think. And in order to figure out what you like, you have to think. You have to reflect on what's happening. What do I enjoy? And please, don't think about what you're doing in high school. Or I get 20s in math, so I should do engineering. Please don't do that, because that's very wrong. And from my personal perspective, though. So I think about what do you like. And another thing that I did personally, go to YouTube. You guys go to YouTube every time to watch videos, and type the day in life of somebody. Day in life of an engineer, day in life of an architect, day in life of, I don't know, an army, and watch what's happening. So you see if, do I want to be there or no? That's how you're going to figure out. A lot of people don't like to do software engineering. Why? Because they're every time looking at computer. Are you able to do that? Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe look at the project that they are working on. Maybe if, for example, maybe automotive engineering. People are working on self-driving cars. That's the project that they are working on. But this is how you figure out, are you interested in doing that? And you come back to find the major or the concentration that you want to do. So, and I think also a very funny thing that I find in many people. Now there is internet and there is Google. And I figure out many things through Google. Write down whatever you want to know and read. Reading is very important. There are many articles. So I want to study, for example, mechanical engineering. Let me learn a little bit about mechanical engineering. Just don't limit yourself in the name. Let me learn a little bit, because when I speak to people, oh, I'm studying mechanical engineering, like, oh, so you're gonna be a mechanic? No, that's very wrong. So, or I am a chemical engineer. Oh, so you work with chemicals? No, that's not always happening. So, I wanna know what's mechanical engineering going on. Let me search a little bit about it and read what do mechanical engineers do. If I want to be a doctor, let me see what the doctor do. But I have another question here. So, Naoufel, how do I know what are the majors available? It's very easy. Just type in majors, basically. Basically, college majors, and they will give you, I think, 200 majors. And scroll through them and write down what are you interested at, and search about them. Because I was searching when I was in high school, and I found a concentration called wood engineering. An engineer only for woods. I never knew there's something like that. But because I did my research, I found out there is something called wood engineering. So find out, I think the steps are, find out the majors that are available first, write them down, search about the major, learn about what's happening in the major, what do those people do? Don't think about the money. That's very wrong. That's totally wrong. Because let me tell you something. Maybe when you're a student, you will not notice that. After you start working, you're working 8 hours per day on the same job. Money is worthless. It's your time. I might give you 300K per year, but how do you use that money? Because you're working 8 hours per day. So I think choose the concentration that you want to do 8 hours per day better than what you get.
So, for example, I'm interested in IT,
Mhm.
but I asked a specific person, like he was working in a university in Morocco.
Okay, whatever, that's fine.
And he was like, IT is good, but like studying it is hard. And even if you got your certificate, like you studied in a specific university and graduated, you will not find a job easily. Like, it's really hard. So I kind of.
I can accept that if he spoke about another major. But for IT, that's not just wrong, that's purely wrong. The job market is igniting, is exploding with IT jobs. Let's forget about that. Let's speak about really what you want to know. Is it hard? Everything is hard. This is what I'm trying to say. Everything is hard, everything is simple. If you're studying gender studies, it's hard. If you're studying chemistry, it's hard. If you're studying physics, it's hard. If you're studying IT, it's hard. Everything requires some efforts. There is no easy one, except for business, but no. I'm just kidding. No, they still have some effort because you gotta do a lot of presentations and you gotta do, learn what's happening. I'm just kidding here. So everything is hard and everything is simple. There's no harder majors. This I'm trying to say. It will be hard if you don't like that. It will be very hard if you don't like the major. Yeah, definitely it will be hard. But communication studies is one of the easy majors. If you don't like communication and you go to communication studies, it will be hard. So there's no hard major. And speaking about the job market, when you're young and you just graduated high school, you're very flexible. You can even study something and switch quickly. And many people misunderstand something. So, for example, I'll speak about NASA in the US. Many people I'm speaking about NASA, they're like, okay, I gotta be an aerospace engineer. I gotta be a pilot to work in NASA. No, definitely no. It's a company. They need doctors. They need nurses. They need accountants. They need reporters. They need administration people. Always. They need IT. They need everyone. It's a company working, so it needs a lot of people. It's not only aerospace and pilots and space and rockets and stuff like that. No, it's very wrong. And that's the same thing I'm trying to say here. If you're a nurse, you graduate as a nurse, you can go to, for example, biomedical engineering. There are many paths to go through a lot of things. And I believe when you're young and you just graduate high school, do your research. Try to get the good thing that you like. If you didn't, or you're still young, you can switch, you're flexible. And when I speak about, for example, IT, many people, when I speak about IT, they speak about, I don't know, Google, and they speak about software. No. I have people who graduated from an IT background, and they're working in the medical field. How? There are medical devices when you go to a dentist. There's a medical device in order to work like a surgery or, and that medical device is IT. It needs someone to help with the medical device. It's not the doctor or the dentist. So even if you graduate from any major, you can get into another industry. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think do your best. Try to start. And after that, you can change. You can make your way to the preferred industry, I would say. But I think another thing that I want to say is, I know it's hard, but sometimes when you start studying that field deeply, you enjoy it again. You may not really know if it's right for you. Some people really hated chemistry and they went to chemical engineering. And they got interested again, just because maybe they found themselves there, they found another thing, and yeah, it's pretty good. So I don't know if I answered your question. I know it's really hard to answer, but yeah, yep.
We're actually very honored to have you.
Appreciate that.
And I actually was really curious
Mhm.
because you have lived here in Morocco.
Yeah, I did.
Went to USA
Yeah.
and Singapore.
Mhm.
Don't you mind telling us like the obstacles you have found? Maybe how you were like you adapted so easily with the people. No, not easily. You adapted with the people,
But-
and maybe some tips that could
Yeah,
help.
all right. That's a very interesting thing because I lived 18 years in Burkina and I was like, US, which is very different. Not just very, 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 very different. Yes. And another thing, I went to Mississippi. And when I'm speaking about Mississippi, it's another US inside the US. Mississippi, let me give you the vibe there. You know the movies from the cowboys, the long boots, country music? That's exactly what is Mississippi. So if you move from Mississippi to California, it's very different again, just between the two states. But I came from Burkina to Mississippi, which is a very different culture. But anyway, so I think, let me speak about the differences first between what I found in Burkina and what I found in the US. One thing that I really want to focus on, if you go anywhere, the US, the UK, Singapore, China, Japan, anywhere, you're still a Moroccan. And that's what I don't like about some people. When they go there, they deny their culture. That's very wrong. And you shouldn't do that. And even though you deny your culture, you're still Moroccan. You're just faking. So you gotta stay Moroccan, but adapt and take away the good things. Cool. So when you go to the US, I think the first culture shock or kind of different thing is food. Americans are just wow with fast food. Fast food is something there. Just like, whoa. People eat fast food every day, which is not really for us, you know. Yeah, we eat fast food, but not that crazy. I mean, I'm speaking about eating burgers for breakfast. So that's how crazy it is. So when you go there, you gotta be a little bit smart. You just not go with the vibe like that, or you will, hurt yourself. So you gotta balance. Eat fast food, try new stuff, but balance. Eat some healthy food, try good things. Soda. Soda is just another thing right there. I'm in Mississippi, which is like 3 hours or 4 hours from Atlanta, in Georgia. Atlanta is the origin city of Coca-Cola. So I am closer to the origin. So soda is everywhere. And they drink soda a lot. And I'm speaking about getting Coke for breakfast. And I'm speaking about replacing coffee with Coke. Our professors drink Coke as coffee. And I was speaking to another guy just lately. He's working in Casablanca, and he said there was this American team who came in to help with their company. And they brought with them a fridge and Coke for the American staff who came from the US to Morocco. So you gotta be smart. Don't be just going with the vibe like that. You gotta be smart, balance your food. Just don't go like that, or you will hurt yourself. That's like the difference in food. In culture, I remember we did a class about this, which is individualism. In the US, when you're 18 years old, you separate from the family and you're responsible. People work summers to buy a car or to travel. Nothing from your parents. Nothing. And I met some of my friends.
I will do that.
Yeah, sure. One of my friends, his father is a doctor. And when I'm speaking about a doctor in the US, it's a lot of money. Straight. And he was working in the gym as an assistant. And I'm like, why? It was like, my dad, no money from my dad. And I met this another friend. He's my friend who gave me a lot of rides. He bought his car from his mom. So he gathered money and he went to his mom. He gave her the money and he bought the car from her. So it's a lot of individualism, but it's really good to have mature teenagers, because when you're responsible, you learn. It's not like that. And another thing, you said the US is very expensive. Parents don't pay for the US universities. You go get what we call the loans, student loans. You gotta pay it back. when you finish your universities, you gotta go pay back your student loans, and not your parents are paying. Yeah, there are parents paying for that, but not a lot. So that's the differences. There are many differences. One of the crazy things is ice. When you go there, you gotta start asking, please don't put ice on everything. They put ice on everything. Like if you ask for soda or Coke, they will put a lot of ice on it. A lot of ice, always. So in Morocco, if you need ice, you ask for ice. In the US, if you don't want ice, you ask for not ice. So it's different. And they drink a lot of cold drinks and yeah, but whatever. But the obstacles. I think for the obstacles, I didn't really face a lot, to be honest, which is pretty good. But I think what people should really think about when they're going to the US is very far away. And that's very important for like girls and stuff like that who want to come back every time to Morocco. That's very important because it's an 8-hour flight from New York. But you're not living in New York. You're living on LA, for example. From LA to New York is a 6-hour flight. So it's a 6-hour flight from LA to JFK, New York, and then after from JFK to Casablanca. And we live in Berkane, so you'll have another ride to Ujda and like that. So you gotta really think about that. It's very important. This is one of the obstacles. So you cannot see your family every 2 weeks or every month. So you gotta be ready for that. But here where it comes to your point when I said have a vision and you know what are you doing there. Because when you understand that you're trying to build a future or you're focusing on something, even though you don't see your family or you're homesick, you understand why you're there. So yeah, that's good. But US is pretty far away. Same as Singapore. But so you gotta think about that. And also the time difference. Morocco is ahead of the US about 7 hours. It depends on the state, but about 7 hours. So when I have the morning, they have the night. So when I'm speaking to my father, it's 7 p.m. It's only 12 p.m. for me. So that's different. So you gotta have some set times where you speak with your family. You cannot just call them any time. Sometimes it's the night. They're sleeping. Sometimes you're sleeping, but they're awake. But I remember sometimes before I sleep, around like midnight or 1 p.m., they have 8 p.m. here, 8 a.m. So they're going to work, but I still didn't sleep because it's still like midnight for me. So I called them around midnight. They woke up, they started the next day. I still didn't. In Singapore, it's switched. I am the one ahead of them. So they call me at midnight. It's 8 a.m. in the morning for me. And I'm like, yo, I just woke up. And they say, oh, we didn't sleep yet. So you got to think about that. You got to think about that. There's a time difference. You cannot just call anytime. So you got to be careful about that. Not really. Not really. They're very welcoming. I didn't find any problem. But I think, let me give you a thing. But I think why I didn't get obstacles, because we studied English for a while in High Up Academy. So I didn't struggle with English there, which is pretty good. So people who go with very low English level, they will have a lot of obstacles. But I think because I have the English language, I didn't suffer much. I understand people, they understand me pretty good. Good to go. A little bit the accents, maybe, but it's fine. Mississippi, there is the African American accent. That's another story. But I told my father about it. So, basically, yeah, what bread? So, when I arrived to Mississippi, the first restaurant I visited is Subway. You know it. And Subway in Mississippi is well known of African American people who work there. And when I got there, basically Subway, you gotta choose the type of the bread, the size, the cheese, the meat. It's like a steps you gotta follow. I didn't know that. When I got there, I'm like, yo, I'm new here. I don't know what's happening. I just saw the restaurant. Please help me. Show me the steps. She didn't care, and she was like, what bread? I'm like, what did she say? What bread? And it's like 5 times, and she was like, what bread? I didn't get what she's saying. But she was trying to say, what bread? Which is, what type of bread do you want? Okay, I figured out that what bread, but I didn't know the types of bread they have already. Like, I need to know what types you have so I can choose. I don't know. Suddenly, I looked at a letter picture, and there were like types of bread. I'm like, oh, good, Italian. I didn't know like what was Italian. I'm just like, yeah, just give me Italian. I'm good. After that, she was like, what's that? What is she saying? What's that? I thought she was saying what sauce or what side, but she didn't say that. She was trying to say what size. Okay, cool. I figured out what size, but okay, I found another obstacle. That's good. All right, I figured out another obstacle. The units. The units are different. Here it's Celsius, there it's Fahrenheit. Here it's meters, there it's feet, pounds, and slug. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but slug, pounds, ounces. So you need some time to get used to that. And if you're engineering, that's a little bit difficult. You gotta get ready to know, because I remember one of the exams. In my beginning, my first year, I was taking this exam, and this teacher gave us like a unit like slug per second square or something like that. And I'm like, I didn't know, is it a weight? Is it a length? I just want to know like at least like what type of unit it is before I can answer the question. But I figured it out. I told him I'm new international, and he was comprehensive. And he was like, yeah, we're good to go. The units. But let me complete about what size. So, because of the units, he was like, "Do you want 6 feet or long foot?" I'm like, I don't know. And I was so hungry, I didn't care. I'm like, just give me the longest one. I was so hungry. I'm just like, yeah. And I remember a guy with me in Morocco too. So she asked us what cheese. Okay, we understood what she said. But the guy was so needy, and he wanted to choose a very specific type of cheese, which is cheddar. But he didn't know that in English we call it cheddar. So he said it in French. He was like, cheddar. And she was like, what? Cheddar. Cheddar! Okay, yeah, and we get to go. But yeah, after that, we knew all the steps. So whenever we got used to it. But yeah, a little bit of the accents, but we get to go. Cool. Awesome. Any other questions?
I do have a question to ask.
Yeah, sure.
You said earlier that you were already ready for the university, like since your second baccalaureate in January, you already knew where you were going. Exactly. How are you supposed to figure that one out?
Okay, let me tell you. So, okay, cool. So let me explain. So I said the deadline to apply is January the 1st. Okay, the deadline is January the 1st. Cool. If you're ready, you can apply very early. I was ready in November. I'm like, why should I wait? Good for me, apply. I applied. They got back to me in December. All the universities are like, yo, accepted, denied, accepted, denied. All the offers that I got. This is how much scholarship we gave you. This is how much scholarship we gave you. Good to go. In December, I already knew what's happening. And the deadline to choose a university is May 1st. So May 1st, you should tell them, are you going or no? And when I'm saying May 1st, you still didn't take your national exam. So, yeah. I decided, I had all my offers. It was clear. I said, yeah, this university is good for me. I had like 3 choices that I gotta, circle around and see what's happening. So when you get 3 choices, you start getting deeper. How are the professors, the facilities, the labs, the location? So a lot of things go there, but so I spoke a little bit, found out what university I need, and yeah, so basically in order to confirm, you gotta pay a deposit. So I paid the deposit, and they were like, yeah, you got your seat, and we started speaking about visa and housing and stuff like that. Yep. So I already knew where am I going before taking my national exam. Yep.
I actually wanted to ask about, socializing, because if you wanted that somewhere, you should really go talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask you, how was making friends there? Was it an easy task for you? Hard task?
I said Americans are very welcoming, so it's not really that difficult. But one of the things that I really focus on, when you do activities here, when you go there are mutual interests. When I met people who are doing, for example, track, I'm like, yo, I did track too. And that's how we meet. Or because, for example, I used to play violin. When I meet another guy playing violin, I'm like, yo, yeah, we played violin. Yeah, I know we have a similar interest, and that's how you make friends. But if you don't have anything to speak about, you can still make friends, but activities make it very easy to do that. Cool. Questions?
The last one. The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I really appreciate you
Yeah, that's fine.
having me here. And we should all be really proud to have
Appreciate that.
and since we leaders, why not?
Yeah.
Knowing that everything is possible.
Everything is possible.
Everything is possible.
Yep.
I actually have a quick question.
Yep.
Well, as you said, there are many countries where we can study English. Can you give many examples?
Yeah.
Such as Canada,
Mhm.
Australia, and many more. I just want to know, and as we all know, we choose US as one of those countries. This is why I'm really curious to know, is there something really special that really attracts you, and that you choose US as the country where you will study?
Okay. All right. That's a very good question. So, UK, US, Canada, all of them are good. That's what we should understand first. There's nothing better than the other thing. It's all about your individual efforts. You can be in Ujda, and you can still be better than someone in Canada. So don't worry about that. There are slight differences between the UK, the US, that I had to choose between. So for example, in the UK, the bachelor is only in 3 years. In the US, the bachelor is 4 years. Cool. Because the bachelor's is 3 years in the UK, it's like a little bit electives. You don't have electives. You don't. What is electives? So electives are courses that you choose to study when you're there, apart from your major. So if I am engineer, I can take microeconomics. That's electives. Because it's 3 years only in the UK, you don't have much choice. So electives are a little bit deleted from the curriculum. For me, I didn't like that much. I wanted to study engineering, but still have some courses that I can take. I took microeconomics, I took organizational behavior, I'm taking Spanish next year. So I want to have that flexibility to take those classes, between the things. That's one of the very important things. For Canada, to be very honest with you, I was interested in Canada. It's one of the best places to go, to be honest. I just got the offers before. I got the offers before I can apply for Canada. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got my offers, next time. But, so all of them are good. There are just only slight differences. The UK is really good for business studies, for example. US was good for me for engineering, maybe. So there is no better place than the other. So just to know, that's very interesting thing. One other thing, very quick point that I want to add is rankings. A lot of people care a lot about rankings. A lot of people really think the ranking is very important. It is not. Rankings is another thing. You can go to a very good ranked university and still don't like that. I went to Singapore and I went to the university called NTU, Nanyang Technological University. It's ranked 12 in the world. When I'm speaking the word 12. And the science math stuff and people are interested in engineering. They know something called the Polytechnic X in France. It's a very fancy school to go to. And it's ranked 64. So I'm saying 12, which is like super good university. When I went there, not really. It's ranked, but the students, it's the same level. It's not much difference. There are even some places where it's better in my university than this university is ranked 12. So don't care about rankings. How we define rankings is how many scientific articles are published. Are those professors writing and publishing and speaking in conferences? It's not about the students. So don't make yourself crazy about rankings. They don't really matter. And now in the world, no one cares about which university you graduated from, which is even crazier. You can graduate from Ujda and still compete for a Microsoft position with someone who graduated from Harvard. So, good news for you. Yeah, cool.
Okay, I think we're gonna end the discussion. So we thank
All
you
right.
for being here. We all look
Cool.
up to you and thank you.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you. So thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to speak with you guys. I hope I answered all your questions, or at least you got some ideas from my reasonable experience. And I'm still reachable. My teacher Khalid has my email. If you need anything, just reach out to me. I'll be very, very happy to speak with you. And if you have any questions, I'll be very happy to help. And I'll give you a spoiler very quickly. I'm writing a book about how to go to the US. So when I'm gonna finish it, I'm gonna share with you guys PDF, and you'll be good to go. Cool? So, but if you need anything, because writing a book is not easy. So if you need anything, just reach out to me per email. I'm very active on my email. That's my first thing I did in my morning. Got my coffee and email checking. So I'll respond to you as soon as possible. And I always write emails every day, so it will be, if you send your email and then respond, I'm just sleeping because of the time difference. So yeah, I'll be very happy to answer your questions, guys. All right, cool. All right, thank you.